Alright guys, so for this video we are going to be looking at whether Thexan might be returning in Knights of the Eternal Throne. So quickly before I get into this video, I just want to say that we are going to be looking at data mined information, and while there will be no major story spoilers, I'll make sure there is nothing like that. We are ultimately looking at this data mined information, which is leaked info, and so if you don't want to know anything about Knights of the Eternal Throne, then I suggest that you don't, watch this video. But ultimately, I'm not going to be giving out story spoilers, and neither, by the end of this video, you will not be able to definitively say whether Thexan actually returns. This is all entirely speculation. It's just my theory, and I'm just going to be providing three main points of evidence, basically, in terms of why I think he is going to return in Knights of the Eternal Throne and why it's a possibility. And so, for that first point of evidence, I just want to say a lot of people think, oh, he got cut in half by, Arkin, that means he's dead. And I don't think that's really the case. I mean, if anything in the SWTOR, not in SWTOR, but in the Star Wars universe in general, getting injured in whatever capacity does not in any way mean you're dead. I mean, just think about Darth Maul, for example. He got cut in half, thrown down that huge thing, and he's actually alive. That's canon, okay? What's happening in Star Wars, the Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, that's all canon, the fact that he survived. And so if someone can survive getting cut in half and falling down a huge, I don't even know what that was, that huge tube or whatever, if you can still survive that, then anyone can really survive anything. And so there, just because Thexan supposedly was killed, that doesn't necessarily mean that he actually is killed. The second main point of evidence comes from the data mine information. And so I'm going to throw up on the screen here. This is data mine information about new NPCs. So NPCs that were added to the public test server in patch 5.0. And I talked about this in a different vid, which is basically we see Thexan here. And he is a friendly character. So the fact that he's been added to the public test server means he could possibly return in Kotet, but once again, in what capacity he returns is unknown. Is he actually returning as a character that's alive? He could be returning as a Force Ghost. He could be returning as some sort of memory, because we've seen in things like dreams from the past, Valkorion can enter your mind and bring you back in time, bring you forward in time, and show you visions and stuff. And so Thexan might actually be there as a vision. You might have to defeat his spirit or something like that. Or maybe his spirit's going to befriend you and actually help you, because it says here he's a friendly character, and it doesn't seem to be anything that shows he's an unfriendly character, so I don't think it's so much you're going to have to fight him, but more so he might actually join you and help you fight Valen or something like that. I don't know. Or he could just return as a force spirit or something. So that's kind of my second point of evidence that makes me feel as though Thexan might be returning in Kotet. And the third point of evidence, now this is going to be not going to be a real story spoiler, but could be. This is the mission databases. Now, I'm not going to hover over the mission. The reason being, for those of you who don't want any story spoilers, the second I hover over the mission, it's going to show everything, and you guys might see things you don't want to see because it might spoil stuff. So instead of hovering over it, basically, in Chapter 5, Ascension, it gives you a little bit of a synopsis of what happened in the previous chapters, and it says, and this might be a spoiler, so if you don't want to, I'll give you a few seconds to click out the video. This is going to be a little bit of a story spoiler, but the point is, or just mute your audio for 5 seconds. It says the cool family reunion. Okay, so it says Valen's the cool family reunion gets violent, and so what that kind of indicates is that there is going to be some sort of family reunion. Valkorion, Valen, Arkin, and Senia, we know are all still alive. Valkorion obviously doesn't have a physical body, but he kind of lives within your character. And the family wouldn't be complete without Thexan. So maybe that means Thexan is going to return in some sort of capacity. I don't know. But once again, that's just another piece of evidence that kind of indicates that that might actually be the case. So other than that, there isn't really much evidence to suggest that he's going to be returning, but I do feel like that's enough to make me believe that he might actually show up, maybe just as a cameo, or maybe actually as an actual impactful character in the story. I'm definitely excited to see that, because I think that this, Kotet in general is going to delve a lot deeper into Valkorion's background and probably now give us a little bit of information about what's been going on with that family, because up to date we don't really know what the family dynamics were. We know a little bit, and we definitely had to fight Valen and Arkin, but what actually has been going on? How did the immortal emperor get incorporated into becoming Valkorion, having that family and everything? And so that's definitely going to be really interesting to delve deep into that story, because in my opinion that's the most interesting thing. How did this immortal emperor, crazy maniac person that just consumed a whole bunch of life on 2 different planets, is now a family man who started a family and created a huge empire that came and destroyed both the Empire and the Republic? So that's definitely very interesting, and I'm hoping to see Thexan. I'm hoping that maybe he will return, because we haven't seen anything of his character really. We know a little bit from that trailer, that the cinematic trailer that was released, but other than that, we also know that he was pretty much well liked. Both Valen and Arkin said that they missed him as a brother. And so it would be nice to see him kind of return or something along those lines. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys found it informative. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, whether you guys think he'll be returning, whether you think this evidence is compelling enough for you to believe that, or maybe you just think it's not enough and he's probably not going to actually show up. Let me know in the comment section. I'll see you in the next one.